following is an exclusive presentation of Ravens Productions.
Coming up on this week's Ravens Report, the Ravens run past one of the best teams in the AFC. We go all access as Ravens Wired takes us on the field for the Ravens win over the Chargers. Plus, it's time for AFC North football, and we preview this week's game against the Bengals. All that and more on this week's Ravens Report.
He's got a 15-10-5 touchdown Ravens. They are dancing in the aisles. Oh, what a scene we have at M&T.
Welcome to this week's edition of Ravens Report. From the Under Armour Performance Center, I'm Evan Washburn. It's week 7 of the NFL season, and the Ravens sit at 5-1 after a dominating performance against the LA Chargers last Sunday. But be honest, you missed the drama and come-from-behind nature that had been the calling card for this Ravens team through the first 5 weeks of the season. Because Sunday was definitely a different experience. A relatively stress-free 34-6 win, where Wink Martindale's defense came to play, holding an explosive Chargers team in check all day long. And this week, the Ravens have a chance at some history to start 6-1 for the first time as they open up AFC North play against the Bengals. But before we get into that game, let's head back to a picture-perfect Sunday at the bank where we had Hollywood Brown mic'd up.
Saw how we get down on the East Coast, all right? We're ready. They're ready to play, man. Now we just got to go play well. Set the tone on 3. 1, 2, 3, set the tone!
They're averaging more than 315 yards passing a game, so the defense has its hands full. Running game has struggled for the Ravens the past couple of weeks. Chargers dead last in the NFL on run defense.
Let's turn it up!
Jackson to throw on third down, looking left, underarm, complete. Gives it to Latavius Murray. He's got a hold. 10, 5, Murray's in. Touchdown, Ravens. And the Ravens just run the ball right down the middle of that Charger defense.
Good first drive, fam. Good first drive. Yeah.
Hey, one play at a time, let's go.
That was a good-ass first drive. I like when we running that ball, bro.
Look, don't battle him at the line of scrimmage. You feel me? He's not going to run away from you. Okay? He's not going to run away from you. I promise you he won't. So be aggressive with him at the line of scrimmage. Go attack the football. Okay? No more catches for him. No more catches for him. You shut him down now.
Herbert throws, batted down. Chuck Clark got a hand on it. Nothing there. He is stacked up. Patrick Queen right there. It has been all Ravens this afternoon. They just manhandled the Chargers. Bobbled and incomplete. Herbert is hit, wrapped, and sacked back at the 19-yard line. Deshaun Elliott. Ravens forced the punt team on again for the Chargers.
Okay. First quarter. Hey, yeah, man.
Steps up, slings it complete. Mark Andrews has it at the 43-yard line. Now he's going to tuck and run. He's at the 40. 35, slips the tackle, 30, down the far sideline, and he steps out of bounds with a first down at the 23-yard line. Fires, he's got Mark Andrews at the 5, and Andrews is spun down at the 1. Gives the bell, sweeping to the right, there's nobody there, he waltzes in for the touchdown. Le'Veon Bell, his first Ravens touchdown. It's the Ravens 14, the Chargers nothing.
That's the beginning. Hold on to that thing.
Yo, why when I jump in the end zone, mine don't look like that? Huh? Why when I jump in the end zone, mine don't look like that?
Hey, way to know the sticks all the way through. Great job.
Let's go, fam. Let's finish them, boy.
Hey, come on, I need something right here. I don't care what it is, give me something. Come on, let's work. You the best. You the best, hey, let's work.
It has been the Ravens' day today.
They're going to have to pick their poison.
And the Ravens are pounding away at the LA Chargers. Touchdowns! 42 consecutive regular season games with either a passing or a rushing touchdown. It has been a dominant performance defensively. It has been a dominant performance offensively. They have been much more physical than the Chargers. Another 3 and out.
Them boys can't keep going 3 and out. It's going to get ugly.
Wrecking ball style football. The Ravens have really rattled Justin Herbert. They've never allowed Justin Herbert to get into a rhythm of this game. Hits the Charger quarterback, wraps him up and sacks him.
Come on, Fitz. We've been playing like a mob mentality every game.
We ain't won one like that in a while, man.
Real good.
Keep working.
Yeah.
Keep working. We got to keep on getting better.
Yeah.
Hey, the good thing about it, you expect so much of yourself, that's how you're going to get better the faster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The Ravens win it 34-6.
And the record-setting numbers just keep piling up for Lamar Jackson, who Sunday won his 35th regular season game as a starter, which is the most by any quarterback before the age of 25, passing Hall of Famer Dan Marino. Coming up next on Ravens Report, we preview this week's matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals with the head coach, John Harbaugh.
Ravens Report is brought to you by MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens, and you. MedStar Health. It's how we treat people.
Welcome back to Ravens Report, presented by MedStar Health. I'm Evan Washburn. The Ravens' 5-1 start to the season is something few outside this building were predicting after a terrible run of injuries to key players throughout the preseason and even into Week 1. And while the credit for the successful start should always go to the players, there's no doubt the infrastructure built by John Harbaugh, Eric DeCosta, and their respective staffs are also a huge part of the equation. And now that math will be tested in the division against the 4-2 Bengals, who come to Baltimore Sunday hungry to prove they're for real. For more on this game, here's the head coach with Garrett Downing.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. Big win on Sunday. You took down the Chargers 34-6. Obviously a lopsided win, and we could point to all sorts of different players who really stood out in that game. But I just want to ask you about the defense overall, because they played so well. What was it that they did to have so much success in that game?
Well, I mean, they played good defense. You know, we were on point across the board. One thing about defense, it all fits together. You know, it fits together in just ways that are kind of hard to describe and kind of hard to explain. But when one person does their job, it helps the other person do their job well. I think they feed off each other. You play well, everybody plays well around you, then it just kind of ramps up a little bit. And that's what happened. Guys played well. We took care of the things the Chargers did well. We took them out of the things they did well, and they really didn't have any answers after that. So it was a good day for us, you know. Now you move on to the next game.
Your team has battled with injuries this year. Your running backs go down before the season. Marcus Peters, we could go down the list. It continues this week. Ronnie Stanley goes on injured reserve. Yet, with all of that said, you're sitting here at 5-1. You have the best record in the division and the conference. What about your team, resiliency of your team, has allowed you to play so well despite those injuries?
I mean, that's it. It's the guys. You know, we have a lot of character guys. We have great leaders. They have great faith. You know, it starts with that. You can't do anything without belief. And then guys have stepped up. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. Guys have stepped in and stepped up and played great. You know, and that's the thing. You expect that from them. That's why they're here. You know, these are guys that maybe the fans don't always hear about right away, but they hear about eventually, because these are guys that have worked hard their whole life to be in that position, to get that opportunity. And then when the opportunity comes for them to be ready and to perform well, I mean, really, that's kind of, as a coach, that's what it's all about.
You know, Coach, this week you were asked about the quote leading into the season about Lamar Jackson. You know, that some executives or people around the league thought this was the year that he was going to get figured out. And you compared it to whistling in the graveyard, whistling past the graveyard. Where did you get that phrase?
Well, that goes way back. You know, Cam Cameron used to say it all the time.
Okay.
And Cam was the quarterback coach at Michigan when my brother played there. So in 1986, and Michigan was going to play Ohio State. And I think Ohio State might have been ranked #1 in the country. And Michigan was going to play him. And Jim came out on Monday after they had lost to Minnesota on the road, and he said, we're gonna beat Ohio State. I guarantee it. Kind of like Joe Namath, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so Bo was just he was upset about it, you know. And Bo called him into his office, said, Harbaugh, you're whistling in the graveyard, just whistling in the graveyard. You better play well. We better win. And they did win. And, you know, so it's not whistling in the graveyard if you back it up. And so, you know, I'm proud of Jim for that. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of whistling in the graveyard. I mean, I hear a lot of talk about Lamar and about our offense, and we're figured out and all that kind of stuff. But we don't pay any attention to it. You know, you can talk football all you want. Our guys go out and play football, and they're doing a great job of it. And we got to keep doing it. And this is going to be a big challenge this week. We understand that, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, this week it's the Bengals. It's AFC North. It's crazy that it's week 7 and this is the first game in the division. They're sitting here at 4-2. What kind of challenge does this team present?
Yeah, I mean they're playing well. It's for the division lead. We know the Bengals over the years. It's a tough division, very physical team. They're playing hard. They're very confident, and you know we just got to go out and try to play our best football and do our best, and let the chips fly.
Awesome, Coach. We can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun Sunday, 1 o'clock at M&T Bank Stadium. It's going to be a great weekend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Garrett.
And as we approach Halloween, the Ravens are hoping their dominance in the month of October will continue, where since 2019, they're a perfect 9-0. Coming up next on Ravens Report, after the win Sunday, the Ravens went around Baltimore with a different game plan. This time, the mission, helping improve our community. Welcome back to this week's edition of Ravens Report. From the Under Armour Performance Center, I'm Evan Washburn. For the 3rd consecutive year, the Baltimore Ravens are partnering with the United Way of Central Maryland to host a volunteer service day for the greater Baltimore area. Hundreds of volunteers served in projects supporting education, hunger, military, and environmental efforts. And after the uncertainty of the last year, where there were few opportunities to volunteer, the Ravens organization and its players were excited to once again make a difference in our community. Here's a look at the call to action.
We are here for our 3rd annual Call to Action Community Day. We are at more than 10 spots across Baltimore. And this is just an opportunity for us as an organization and for our fans just to give back. We are excited to be out in the community and return to a sense of normalcy. We know we've been looking forward to it, and our players absolutely have been looking forward to it, and our fans as well.
This is an awesome day for us to be able to beautify vacant lots here in the West Baltimore area, and this beautification has such a great impact on community.
I got to give back, you know what I mean? I think it's just something important for me, you know, just for people to see, like, he's a professional player, but he also just wants to give back to not only this community, but my community back home as well.
Y'all didn't have to come out here and do any of this. Seriously, like, I really thank y'all. I love the Ravens. I love y'all as a team together. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, gardening for the first time. I wouldn't say I feel like a pro, but close to it.
Call to Action is our way of encouraging our fans and our community to help us give back to our community, to give back to the Baltimore area throughout. We're currently in Northwest Baltimore right now and have opportunities throughout the entire Maryland area. So whether fans are able to participate with us specifically, or they can just do something on their own, do something virtually, the opportunities are really limitless. We just want this to be an opportunity and avenue for fans to give back to their community.
One day I was visiting in the neighborhood and someone said to me, Pastor, the birds are back. And I was like, the birds are back? And so the neighbor went on to explain to me that because of the garden and the pollinator gardens that we have here, that it brought back the butterflies and the bees and also the birds. And I'd never thought about it. But for people who live in the community for 30, 40 years to be able to say, oh, the birds are back. So that says there's life sustaining life is in the community. We're just so proud and so pleased to have these multiple partners to be able to help this community.
Last year's call to action, we had to operate virtually, and our players didn't have as many opportunities to get involved. We as an organization, we're just getting started. We know we're adapting to COVID, and we still want to make sure everyone is safe. We're blessed to give back and to be in the position to have the impact on so many people.
And the Ravens are just getting started. Be on the lookout for the team in the community throughout the season. Coming up next on Ravens Report, Brian Billick takes us inside the play-action passing game that was so effective against the Chargers. It's Brian Billick's breakdown after this.
Brian Billick's breakdown is powered by Microsoft, the official tablet of the Baltimore Ravens.
Welcome back to Ravens Report, presented by MedStar Health. I'm Evan Washburn. With now 6 games of evidence, it's clear the Ravens' passing game has improved. It was much discussed and prioritized in the offseason, and the Ravens now rank 11th in the NFL in passing, this after finishing dead last in 2020. And in this week's installment of Billick's Breakdown, Brian Billick examines how play action has become a big element in igniting that passing game.
Well, this was, I think, a signature home win for the Ravens over a very good Los Angeles Chargers team, and they did it in a prototypical way. They ran for 187 yards. They were 4 or 5 in the red zone, 6 of 11 on third down. They had 38 minutes time of possession, and of course the defense was brilliant, holding a Justin Herbert, who's been very, very hot up to this point. Plus, they only ran for 26 yards, did the Chargers. So I want to focus on the offense and kind of the signature things that the Ravens did and that we can expect a lot more of. The first one is just a basic zone play. And everybody seemed to get involved. This is a strong side zone. You're going to see the receiver in motion and the tight end work on the backside to seal on the backside. And you're going to see Murray very patiently work his way back to that backside, starts strong, works back to the backside B gap. And when he sees the hole, he slips through for a good, solid game. Now, this next play, I love it. It's as simple as a screwdriver. This is a zone or a power zone where you're going to see the tight end and Ricard combination. This is a downhill run, not very complicated. Freeman does a nice job of seeing everything get mashed up inside. They seal the outside, does Ricard and the tight end, and he bounces outside for an additional gain. This is just good running the daylight, as you used to say, with a very simple scheme. And then now the next play, again, this is vintage Ravens. Haven't seen as much of this the last couple of weeks. It's good to see the counter back into the resume of the Ravens running game. This is the backside guard and tackle pulling with counter action by the back, handed off from the gun by Lamar Jackson. And again, the guard pulls. His job is to kick out the defensive end. The offensive tackle pulls up. He's almost like a fullback now, getting downhill. We get a hat on a hat. Excellent job. Weaving back turns into a touchdown again for Murray. Now let's look at what this leads to. This leads to the play action pass, and watch what happens here. Similar action. We're going to fake, and again, you're going to see the offside guard pull. When that happens, watch the linebacker 44. He has to respect this. He's going to pull up because of the pulling guard with the play action fake. This creates a voided zone that Andrews works into. This is a very easy pitch and catch for Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews because of the play action pulling the linebacker out of that voided zone area. Now, this again, you're going to see the same type of action. You're going to see play action fake. Everything goes to the right. Now, they're blitzing from the backside, so that adds to it. The back does an excellent job of recognizing that the blitzer is coming, so he immediately peels off and addresses the blitzer. The safety, who is replacing the linebacker, has to step up. And you can see Brown sitting in there in that intermediate, pulling the corner and the safety to it. Andrews, coming from the opposite side of the formation, again, gets into that voided zone because of the run fake in behind the safety and behind the corner who's accounting for Brown. It was really great to see Rashad Bateman in his NFL debut, and let's look at what he can do. This is a 2-by-1. You're going to see the play action fake to the strong side with a slant by the slot receiver. Look what that does. That combination of the fake and the slant. There are 10 of the 11 defenders for the Chargers from the hash over. That leaves Bateman one-on-one with the corner, something they're going to want to do anytime they can and create this one-on-one matchup, which he can do something with this matchup that we see. Next up is a surprising young Bengals team with Joe Burrow, who's been very, very good. He's on pace to throw for better than 4,000 yards, better than 70% completion percentage, and better than 35 touchdowns. Dangerous, but with the formula we just saw against a Charger team that's very similar, obviously, to Cincinnati, this formula should play out for the Ravens at home.
So now the attention turns squarely to the division and a test Sunday at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have flown under the radar nationally at 4-2, with both losses coming by just 3 points in each game, including a wild overtime loss to the 5-1 Packers. It's a team that's young and uber talented offensively, led obviously by former number 1 pick Joe Burrow at quarterback. But it's really been led through the first 6 games of the season by its top 10 defense, which has been stout all season long. Here are a couple keys ahead of this game. Offensively for the Ravens, it'd be good to avoid third down. It's really the only blemish on their resume this season, where they're converting only 37% of the attempts. But the good news is the Ravens have been really strong on first and second down, avoiding the problem altogether. Defensively, it's important to string another strong day together against the pass because the Bengals have weapons on the outside in Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. That's it for this week's edition of Ravens Report. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you don't miss the latest episode of the Purple Chair podcast with Cassie Calvert, who introduces you to the Ravens organization in a new way, with voices you may not have heard from before. Episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you right back here next week on Ravens Report.